Alright, the first method that we are going to solve by is substitution. So when we are solving by substitution, the first thing that we want to do is pick one variable in one of the equations and solve for it. So looking at these problems, it's going to be the easiest to solve for either z in the first or the second equation. So we just pick one. So I'm going to take the first one and get z by itself. So that means that we're going to subtract the 4x and the 4y. So we would get z equals negative 4x minus 4y plus 24. Okay. So again, that was our first equation. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to substitute it in for z into both the second and the third equation. Okay. So if we start with the second one, and I numbered my equations just to make my work a little bit easier to follow. So that can be helpful, but that's not something that you have to do. Alright, so again, we're going to substitute this in for the z. So that would give us 2x minus 4y plus, and then we'd have negative 4x minus 4y plus 24 equals 0. So now we want to simplify. So there's that 1 here, so we're just going to distribute 1 to everything. So that's just 2x minus 4y minus 4x minus 4y plus 24 equals 0. So now we're going to combine like terms. So 2x minus 4x is negative 2x. Negative 4 minus 4 is negative 8y. And then we're going to subtract the 24 over. So this will be equal to negative 24. And now we're going to do that same process for our third equation. So we take our first one and we're going to substitute it in for z into the third equation. So we would have 5x minus 4y minus 5 times the quantity of negative 4x minus 4y plus 24 equals 12. So again, the first thing that we are going to do is start by distributing. So 5x minus 4y plus 20x, and then plus 20y, and negative 5 times 24 is going to be a negative 120 equals 12. So now we're just combining like terms. So we would have 5x and 20x, so 25x. Negative 4y plus 20y is 16y. And then we're going to add the 120 at the same time. So that's going to give us 132. So now we're going to take those two new equations and put them into their own system. So we're taking this one and this one. We're going to write our new system. So negative 2x minus 8y equals negative 24. And then 25x plus 16y equals 132. So now, looking at that, we're going to solve this system either by substitution or elimination. So just like we did in the very first section of this unit. So we just pick whichever one we think is easier. So if I'm looking at this, it should be pretty easy to multiply the first equation by 2, and then we can eliminate the y's. So I'm going to do that. So we're going to multiply everything by 2. So negative 4x minus 16y equals a negative 48. So now, negative, we are going to add these together. So 25 minus 4 is 21x, and then our y's cancel. 132 minus 48 is 84, and then we would divide both sides by 21. So x will be equal to a positive 4. So we have one of our variables, so now we have to find the other two. So since we know our x value, to find our next variable, we're going to plug it into this system still. So I'm going to take my 4 and I'm just going to pick either the top one or the bottom one, and I'm going to replace x. So I'm going to choose the top one because the numbers are smaller. So we would have negative 2 times 4 minus 8y equals negative 24. Now we're just simplifying this to find y. So negative 8 minus 8y equals negative 24. And then we're going to take negative 24 and we're going to add the 8 over. So that would be negative 8y equals negative 16. So that means when we divide by negative 8, y will be a positive 2. And then once we have both, or two variables that we know, we're going to go back to the original problem. So we can pick one of these three equations or the one that we simplified to find our last variable. So I'm going to choose the one that we simplified. So I'm going to replace both the x, so x replaces with 4, and y will be replaced with 2, and then we'll simplify to find z. Okay, so z equals negative 4 times 4 minus 4 times 2, and then plus 24. So negative 4 times 4 is negative 16, minus 12 plus 24. So if we start combining those, we would have negative 16 minus 12, so that's negative 28. And then plus 24 would be negative 4. Oh wait, something's wrong. Sorry, negative 4 times 2 is 8. Sorry, this should be a negative 8. So that means when we combine that, that's going to be a negative 24. So now when we combine, we actually end up with 0. Okay? So it's very important for these problems that you're double checking to make sure that your arithmetic is right, otherwise your whole problem is going to be thrown off. Okay? So our final answer, we're just going to write our three variables. So our x equals 4, the y equals 2, and the z equals 0 as an ordered triple. So 4, 2, 0 is going to be our final answer. So that's the point of intersection for all three of those planes.